is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis coming to you with a quick video. I wanted to let you guys know I got some new merchandise available, not just t-shirt anymore. I got different type of t-shirt, different type of shirts and logos that you can purchase on my spread shirt, and also hoodies now. We have expanded and added more to the channel and more merchandise for the brand. Thanks for supporting. It will be in the description and the links will be in the comment section below. Thanks for helping me and supporting the movement. Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis. I'm going to check out the video. What is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis coming to y'all with a little fun video. I want to tell you guys my personal opinion on who I believe is going to be the MVP currently if the season ended today. Now, this list could end up being the list that might happen at the end of the season. But with us only being a little over a quarter of the season, I wanted to do something fun and just tell you my opinion. If you agree or disagree, let me know in the comment section below. Like I said, this is just my personal opinion, so it's not a fact. This is just something I believe, and this is something I feel. So if you have your own top 5, let me see it in the comment section below, and let's go. I want to do honorable mention. These are guys that's definitely in the conversation, and they not that far off for being in this top 5. These are two guys that you can't go wrong with, whether you have them in the list or out the list. But number 7, number 6, I should say, is Nikola Jokic, a guy I just did a breakdown on yesterday, and he's a guy that's putting up 17 and 7 assists a game. Plus, the Denver Nuggets is the #1 team in the Western Conference, and they've been hovering around that spot for the last couple months. So it's not like they just got on a hot streak. It's not like they just became the best team now. They've been winning, and they've been one of the best teams offensively and defensively this whole season. And you got to give credit to Nikola Jokic for being able to have an efficient offense around him, but also being a good guy from the steals and being a better defender than we thought, because he was a terrible defender. And most people thought, can you really design a top 10 defense with Jokic at your center? And they've been able to figure it out. And Jokic is trying harder on the defensive end. Then you realize that he's so much better than every other big at passing. And the fact that he can shoot the ball, post up, hit fadeaways, take contact, be a great free throw shooter. That definitely put him in the MVP conversation with wins and with the numbers. Joel Embiid, only problem I have with Joel Embiid is that he's not the most efficient guy. Other than that, he's having a fantastic season. He got off to, personally, to me, a better start, and now he's starting to cool off a little bit. That's why I had dropped him out. He's giving you 26 a game, 47 from the field, 27 from 3, 79 from the free throw line. He's still giving you 13 rebounds, 3 assists, and 1 block. Those are monster numbers, especially for a guy like Embiid, because he has played 31 out of 31 games. Well, not 31 out of 31 games, but he has played 31 games so far. This is by far one of his healthiest seasons, and he's starting to get more minutes, and he's starting to feel himself a lot more. But like I said, he has cooled off, unless he would be higher. He's only averaging 22 points on 47% from the field and 15% from 3 in December. So he's not as dominant and taking over like he did in October and November, when he was averaging around 27 to 28 points a game. He only has gone down since the Jimmy Butler trade, and it's a part of sacrificing. He doesn't have to do as much because they have a guy like Butler. So it kind of hurts his numbers in return, because now he doesn't have to score. Now he's not dependent on as much because they have another all-star caliber player in Jimmy Butler. And personally, to me, Jimmy Butler is one of the top 10 and top 15 players in the world. And anytime you have a player of that caliber on your team, you're going to have to sacrifice for the big picture of being a championship contender. And now we're seeing a slower, weaker, and not as dominant Embiid right now. But he still deserves credit because his team is still winning, and he's still putting up solid numbers despite his numbers going down. Number 5 is LeBron. Only reason why I don't have LeBron higher is because of the record. They 1 game from dropping out of the 4th seed, but they also 2 games away from being higher. So I definitely got to see the record, because LeBron is putting up 27, 7, and 7. That's something that he's been able to do for the last 10 years. Only problem is his teams haven't been winning as much as they usually do. Even last year, he had a stretch when he was one of the most dominant players in the world, especially offensively last year. But his team only finished in the top four in the East, and they did win 50 games with a bad roster. But at the same time, they didn't finish top three or in their whole Eastern Conference. So he's having the same problem this year. He's putting up the numbers, but his team is only the fourth seed in the West, and that doesn't even include the entire NBA. So he actually is even lower. Once the team start winning and become a higher seed, then I'll put him higher on this list. But LeBron James is a shoe-in for 27-7 every single season. And even in year 16, he's still been able to do it. And that's been the most impressive part about his game. But his team has to continue to win for him to climb up this list. And when he does that, you give him more credit. But as of right now, they're a mediocre to decent team and nothing more than that. Number 4, Steph. Only reason I got Steph low on this list is mainly because his injuries. The injuries has really sidelined him from really being higher on this list. Missing big portions of seasons has really been one of his biggest weaknesses, is not being able to stay healthy. He hasn't even played enough games to have his stats even count at this point. So that just lets you know, yeah, he was the MVP candidate, probably the leader the first month of the season, the first full month of the season. But after that, he has came back down to earth. He's no longer averaging 30 on 50 and 50. He's averaging 49 from the field, 47 from three, and 94 from the free throw line, while still giving you 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and 28.8 points. And those numbers are nothing to sneeze at, because those are great MVP caliber numbers. And he is putting up 27.8 in the month of December, which is better than his November. But in October, he averaged 33 on 54, 52, and 91 from the free throw line, while also getting 5 assists, 5 rebounds, and 1 steal a game, which is astronomical numbers. But he also didn't really play that many games in November. And even though he's still putting up MVP caliber numbers in December, you still have to account the whole season as of right now. And with that big gap of games missed, that really hurts his chances of winning MVP, personally, to me. And even though his team is number 2 in the West, he does have Clay, Draymond, and KD who help keep the load going. And I have him at number 3 because he's just putting up all around good numbers this season, and his team is winning. I know when Steph went out, the team wasn't as dominant, but I feel like it's an adjustment period. I feel like if you lose a player as great as Steph, you're going to lose a lot, especially when you rely on him a lot. But when you look at KD numbers, he's shooting 51 from the field, 35 from 3, 93 from the free throw line, while also giving you 7 rebounds, 6 assists, which is a career high, and giving you 1 block, 1 steal, and 28.8 points a game. That's one of the best full, well-rounded seasons KD has ever done, and you have to give him credit for that. The only knock that keeps KD from going higher is that when Steph went out, they couldn't still continue the same dominant pace, even though they still number 2 in the Western Conference. KD could have did a little bit more. He started to do it before Steph came back, but if he would have did that for a longer stretch, KD probably would be MVP, because he's putting up some of the best numbers this season, and his team was still winning and had a good enough record to be in the top 2 right now. But he could have been a little bit more dominant, a little bit more selfish, and if he would have did that, he probably would be MVP this year. Just yesterday, he was averaging 29 a game. So it shows you how efficient and dominant he has been. He hasn't lost a step, but he couldn't carry the team when Steph and Draymond was out. I don't know if that's a knock on KD, or it just shows you how important these players are to the team, and they really do matter in their success. This team is built around KD when everybody's healthy, but when it's not, the team is just a mediocre team at best. So I don't really know if you should take a lot of credit from KD, or they still hovered around good enough to still be the second team in the West and never really dropped that far after that. So I like KD, but not being able to carry the team when they was gone hurted his case. Giannis has been arguably the MVP because the Bucks have got off to a fantastic start, one of the best starts in franchise history. Plus, they've been blowing out a lot of people. They've been showing that they're a superior team. They're a better team. They play better together. They all on the same page. They all out there having fun. Giannis is dunking on people. Giannis is going out there obliterating bigs and smalls, and he's having a fantastic season. Only reason why Giannis ain't that high is because the guy that I have has a better record. But not only that, Giannis cannot really shoot. He still is a bad shooter, not shooting very well from the free throw line, not really shooting that well from the 3-point line, which he's shooting 12% from three and 69% from the free throw line. That's very low for a perimeter player, but he is a bigger guy and more lanky. But he's shooting a dominant 58% from the field, which is a career high, absolutely unstoppable, absolutely unguardable. And he's still giving you 13 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 block, 1 steal, and 26.8 points a game. Arguably the MVP of this year, and his team has been one of the best teams in the entire NBA, regardless of conference. Even to the point where they're tied for the second best record in the NBA after the Toronto Raptors. Nobody really seen this season coming from the Bucks, even though I did feel like they can reach this level, like I told you in earlier videos this year. But for it to actually be happening is still a surprise. How well they play together offensively and defensively, and how mature and how grown up Giannis look right now. But I still think, even though he's young, he has a lot more room to improve on, and his defense is getting even better. His rebound is getting more dominant, and he's getting more unstoppable. But I still feel like he can dominate and be a little bit more ugly and a little bit more nasty and a little bit more selfish. And once he get that mentality, that he's starting to develop right now, if he can do it for the rest of the season, I can definitely see Giannis winning his first MVP. But as of right now, my number one is Kawhi Leonard, the number one team in the Eastern Conference. But I think people are gonna say, well, at the end of the day, Kawhi Leonard, when he's injured or he sits out, they're still winning games. They don't really need him. They beat the Warriors without him. They're 7 or 8-1 without him, and I'm looking like, okay, there's a lot of teams that does that, but that's a small sample size. If you're looking at 6-1 or 7-1 and 8-1, who really cares, because it's only 9 games? Ain't like they've been winning 25 out of 3. They have a good record, and at the end of the day, you want to be a part of a team that can win without you, because you don't want the team to start losing. You don't want to lose your position, and it's good to have a team that has confidence, a team that plays well together, and they can continue to win. I want to be a part of a team that can win without me, because I know I can trust my teammate. I respect these guys, and I know these guys gonna give it 110%, whether I'm there or not. Plus, that just gives me confidence when I do come back that we can hit another level with me in the lineup. So at the end of the day, I like Kawhi Leonard. I feel that that's been held against him. But when the guy has played, he's giving you 49 from the field, 38 from the 38 from the 3-point line, 85 from the free throw line, and still giving you 8 rebounds a game, 3 assists a game, and 2 steals, while giving you a career high 26.3 points a game. And he's still showing that he's the best perimeter defender in the entire NBA. And he's showing that he can take more shots, but he can still knock them down efficiently. I wish he closed games a lot better. I feel like if he can continue to be more aggressive and still keep his teammates involved, that will take him to another level. That's something that KD learned. That's something that LeBron has. That's something that even AD has done this year, but he hasn't won that many games. That's something that even Jokic is doing, making your teammates better, making their job a lot easier while still being able to get your own shot and dominate when you have a mismatch or you feel like you can take over the game. I feel like that's the biggest part of Kawhi Leonard, having that aggressive nature, having that pass to the right. He just got to figure out when to dominate, when to pass, and keep teammates involved, but also making them better. And I feel like he's taken a huge step in the right direction with this Toronto team. And I feel like once he masters that, of being able to dominate the game offensively, defensively, but also passing and keeping everybody involved while still getting your numbers and staying efficient. That's going to take him to that next level of possibly the best player in the NBA. Yes, he's a better free throw shooter. Yes, he's a better shooter in general than Giannis. And yes, they have the #1 team in the NBA. And to me, he is a better defender. But when you look at Giannis' numbers and you look at what they're doing, they're coming back to earth a little bit too. But, Giannis is arguably, having one of the best seasons too. And it's kind of crazy that Kawhi Leonard will even be in this discussion right now. And I done seen a lot of people starting to say, yeah, Kawhi Leonard, he's possibly the MVP. And that lets you know how dominant he is. And even if you go back 2 years ago, he finished in the top 3 of the MVP race. And his team won 60 plus games that year. So it shows you that you can win 60 games and get to the Western Conference Finals in the toughest conference with a guy like Kawhi Leonard being the best player. And that helps his case because Giannis has never been out of the first round. And he's going to look to do that this year. Check out my website, analysisplayground.com. Link will be in the description in the comment section below. Check out my Facebook page, analysisplayground.com. Link will be in the description in the comment section below. Like on Facebook to show support. Also, check out my Spreadshirt. Like I said, that'll be in the description and the comment section below. Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis. I'm gone. I enjoy making these videos. You guys continue to watch. That's why I keep on going. Also, check out my older videos. I got breakdowns. I got rookie breakdowns. I got hot topics that talk about the best free agent signings and trades. And I do everything NBA only. So subscribe if you want to be a part of the family.